Okay. Good morning to all of you out there. It's April 15, Wednesday, April 15, 2020. I'm repeating that for all of you who may have lost track of date and time. And right now it's 8:04 in the morning. We are broadcasting live from my residence here in Pasig. Welcome to our home. And this is a multi-point production. We are doing this in coordination with people from other areas. Now, a bit of news for today. Allow me to read some of the news. In the headlines, ASEAN leaders hold telesummit on COVID-19. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, held a special summit through teleconferencing, through video conference, reaffirming their commitment and unity to control the spread of coronavirus 2019 or COVID-19. President Rodrigo Duterte was part of the telesummit in which he emphasized that ASEAN must collaborate and coordinate within our region and beyond. President Duterte also welcomed Thailand's proposal to form a COVID-19 ASEAN Response Fund. He also took the chance to thank Brunei and Singapore for providing assistance to the Philippines. The government is going to buy 3.3 billion virus test kits ASAP, says President Duterte. President Duterte has approved the immediate purchase of polymerase chain reaction or PCR-based and rapid testing kits worth 3.3 billion pesos. This as the government continues its mass testing efforts, which started Monday for COVID-19. The purchase will be made through the Office of the Civil Defense, or OCD. Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion, lauded the decision, saying that this bulk order lowers the price from $6 per unit to $5 per unit. Stay tuned today because we will have a presidential advisor, Concepcion, later on to talk about the development and their meeting with the president, which turns out to have been a very interesting experience for those who got to see the president, and you'll find out later. President Duterte also approved the wage subsidy for middle class. Actually, this took a big chunk of the headlines today. The president has also approved almost 50.8 billion pesos worth of wage subsidy for around 3.4 million middle-class workers affected by the Luzon-wide enhanced community quarantine. This program is called the Small Business Wage Subsidy Program, which will benefit the workers employed by micro, small, and medium enterprises, or MSMEs. Finance Secretary Sunny Dominguez says the subsidy will range from 5,000 pesos to 8,000 pesos. The first tranche is set on 1st to the 15th of May, while the second tranche is set from May 16 to 30. The IATF also okayed or approved medicine graduates' limited practice for COVID-19. Medicine graduates may soon join health workers in the front lines to fight the pandemic. This after the Interagency Task Force, or IATF, has approved the interim guidelines allowing medicine graduates to practice in a limited capacity. This is in response to the reduced health workforce in the country due to COVID-19. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles said this will be effective only for the duration of the public health emergency brought about by the pandemic. Next up, 76 inmates in Bucor facilities or Bureau of Corrections facilities isolated for suspected COVID-19 infection. Even the prisons do not seem to have been spared from COVID-19, as 76 inmates at the Bureau of Corrections have been placed under isolation for possible coronavirus infection. Aside from them, there are also over 150 inmates and Bucor personnel who are considered persons under monitoring or suspect cases. As such, additional measures have been implemented to protect the inmates, such as temporary tents to decongest prison buildings and a 24-hour monitoring center right in the new Bilibid Prison Administration building. The Bureau is now working with partner hospitals to provide necessary treatment. So clearly, no one has been spared. Now, at this point of the program, we will now move to our first interview, and we have with us Dr. Jonas del Rosario, Philippine General Hospital spokesperson. He is also a specialist in pediatric cardiology. His expertise are in disease areas that include interventional cardiology, the kind of doctor I want to have around me, given my very poor plumbing. Good morning, Dr. Jonas. Welcome to Agenda. Dr. Jonas, we can't seem to get your audio. Did you change any setting? There, maybe your mic is on mute. Can we try again? Okay, these are the realities of working from home for all of us. Okay, there you go.
Hi, Cito, thank you for having me.
Okay, Dr. Jonas, may we find out more about this platelets, this I've been reading on the news, this plasma donations from COVID-19 positive. Kasi alam mo, maraming tao hindi familiar dito sa ginagawa ninyong treatment option to help COVID-19 positive patients, especially those who are in, how do you call it, extreme situations. Go ahead, doctor.
Okay, Cito, we call it convalescent plasma therapy. No? So, ang kinukuha po namin, first of all, we identify COVID-19 survivors. And when we say COVID-19 survivors, nagkaroon po sila ng COVID-19 as confirmed by a positive PCR test. That's the first requirement. And then they recovered, and then they have a negative PCR test. So confirmed to be positive and then became negative. So that's
okay. So let's be clear about that, Doc Jonas, because meron tayong mga pinag-uusapan na nagkaroon ng COVID-19, na hospital, gumaling. Ito yung mga survivors. Meron naman yung mga asymptomatic, yung mga wala silang manifestation pero carrier sila. Yung bang carrier pwede magbigay ng plasma o hindi?
Pwede po. Basta it doesn't matter whether you became critically ill, whether you got hospitalized, or you are like a walking carrier of COVID-19. No? All of those people, different presentations, but all of them got COVID-19 disease. Okay. And then they all will recover. And the objective way of assessing that they have recovered from the illness is a repeat test that their PCR test now is negative.
Okay.
Okay.
So now, from positive to negative, survivor or carrier. Okay. Sige.
Yeah. Okay. So then, why are we interested in these people? So because now in their blood, specifically in their plasma, they carry antibodies against that virus that caused COVID-19, specifically the novel coronavirus. No? So it's very specific for that virus. So we now take advantage of that because these survivors or those who had recovered from the illness carry these antibodies, which can actually help another one who hasn't really gotten off the disease, so lumalaban pa. Kaya
Mhm.
we ask these people to donate their blood. We actually segregate and separate their plasma, which is the liquid part of the blood, and then we transfuse this plasma to a patient who is critically ill. And we're hoping with those antibodies that are in the plasma of the donor, that will help the recipient.
Okay, but from what I've read, it's not as simple as it sounds. Parang matindi daw ang screening. It's almost equivalent to getting an import player for the PBA. Kukuha tayong import pero ang tindi raw ng screening. You don't just show up at the PGH and say, "Oh, ako survivor ako. I would like to donate." How difficult or how particular are you sa screening ng mga donors?
That's right, Sito. We have to make sure that the blood that we are getting will be coming from healthy donors, right? So merong criteria. So we actually the first screening is to make sure that they got a confirmed disease and then they recovered with a negative test. Second
Okay.
is they should manifest 2 weeks of being symptom free. Talagang wala nang nararamdaman, malakas na sila for 2 weeks after that negative test. So after the
Mhm.
negative test, we count and we ask the patient, how is he for 2 weeks? Dapat walang symptoms, feeling well, fully recovered as verified by a physician. So
Okay.
okay. Then we also do the regular screening that every blood donation center does anyway. So there
Mhm.
will be questionnaires, and then we will take a sample of their blood because we need to make sure that they do not have other diseases, especially blood-borne infections,
Mhm.
hepatitis, HIV, etc., etc. So only when they pass the initial screening will they actually be able to come to us and donate.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that, Dr. Jonas, because okay, we understand yung carrier of bloodborne diseases.
Mm.
Now, many of the victims, from what I've heard globally, are diabetics. Uh, and I know from mga blood donations, if you're diabetic, sorry, no go ka. You can't donate. So, does the standard rules apply? That whatever the rules are for blood donation that bans people who are diabetic, etc., apply also with this plasma donation.
Yes, more or less, Cito. So because we also this is basically a blood donation. So the standard screening or inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria being used in blood donation will also apply. Now, with regard to diabetes, marami talagang diabetic na pasyente. What
Yes.
I was told was it's a no-no if you are taking insulin. Okay, so
Aha.
if you probably have mild diabetes and it's controlled and you're only taking an oral medicine, baka pumasa pa, no? But
Mhm.
in general, really, we would like to exclude patients who have heart diseases, diabetes, cancer, or some other illnesses wherein they're taking so many maintenance medications.
Okay. What would be the risk to the? Go ahead. I understand that you have your alarms. In any case,
Yeah.
what would be the risk to the donors? Because a few things. No, sabi mo, kailangan 2 weeks. You're clear. 2 weeks, healthy, no problems. What about mga relapse?
Mm.
Because I may have the antibodies, but that also means that I need antibodies. Baka pag nag-donate ako naman ang maubusan. I mean, that's the usual question. Will donating my blood plasma with the antibodies put me at risk, especially now that there's talk about relapse in South Korea?
Okay. All right. That's a very good point. First of all, let's clear up the relapse. Yes, there was some reports of the relapse that Koreans were saying. It's not very clear, really, if those patients in the first place fully recovered. Okay, because
Uh-huh.
the way that it was written was They were about to be discharged. They actually tested, they had a negative test. And then just before discharge, they repeated the test, and lo and behold, they became positive. So now people are thinking, is this a reinfection or a relapse? Now, the difference with relapse po is parang may sakit ka, bigla kang nabinat. Hindi ka pa talaga magaling. Okay? Yung, yung reinfection, gumaling ka na, tapos may bago na naman dumating na mikrobyo, nagkasakit ka na naman. No? I think from what we were reading, it doesn't seem to be a reinfection. Because we would like to believe that once you recovered from the fully recovered from the from COVID-19, you are protected. But obviously, we're still trying to look at these patients. But at least for the Korean patients, we're not sure. The other issue also sometimes, Sito, is this false negative test. No.
Yes.
Because I just realized it also depends on how the sample was taken. No? It's a nasopharyngeal or oropharyngeal swab.
Okay.
May ipapasok na swab stick sa ilong mo. Dapat nasa umabot dun sa likod ng, talagang dapat masaktan ka eh. No? But sometimes, siguro sa pag-iingat o hindi masyadong magaling yung kumukuha, they do not get the proper specimen. And so when that is run in the lab, it will yield negative results because they were not able to get enough of the specimen or the right specimen. So here you are thinking that you have a negative test, and then a repeat will yield a positive. So that negative might be a false negative. And that's the reason why I tell you that we're not only into the test of being negative, but we also would like to examine the patient, making sure that they are symptom-free. On our examination, on our evaluation, they are fully recovered. So that's something we really need to be sure that we are sending a donor who is really who has survived or has fully recovered from COVID-19.
So our presumption now, or our, I don't want to call it our hunch, basically, but medyo our presumption is that if you've survived, you're bulletproof as far as coronavirus is concerned.
That's what we wanted to believe. Sana totoo, no? But there's still, this is a young disease. People are still looking into it. And the more survivors that we have, eventually we will find out if recovering from it offers a lifelong immunity. Just like when you have a chickenpox, you only will get chickenpox once in your life. But if you have dengue, let's say dengue has 4 strains. You can have a dengue type 1, and then a few months or a year later, another type of dengue. So what I was told by a specialist who is into analyzing the DNA of this virus, they are seeing some variation in the strain. No, just like influenza. Every year you get a flu shot, and you wonder how come every year I have to get a flu shot. The reason is because every year, matalino yung virus they have this, they call it the genetic drift. They try to reinvent themselves so that they can reinfect and reinvade a host that cannot be identified by your existing soldiers. No? Kumbaga sa gera, nagpapalit ng strategy yung kalaban, akala mo ready ka na dahil na-meet mo na sila noon, biglang magpapalit ng kulay, iba na naman. So we're not yet sure about the coronavirus if that will be the case. No?
So that which is all the more reason for all Filipinos or all human beings to just, even if all of these ECQs are lifted, you cannot live without caution anymore. It's not going to be a normal life for us. Talagang medyo ingat-ingat na tayo. Wala nang hugs and kisses ngayon at laging wash your hands na.
Yun na nga, there will be a new order, Sito. Just like early this morning, we have a Viber thread among doctors when we start reopening our clinics. How do we examine our patients now? How will be the encounter? We see a lot of people coughing, having sniffles, may fever. Lahat napapraning, ano?
Yeah, Doc Jonas, going back to this thing about the plasma treatment option, do all survivors end up having the antibodies? Because, na-mention mo yung Hepa B. I am a Hepa B patient, and it took 3 years before my antibodies kicked in. Because 3 years before that, hindi ako makakuha medical insurance,
Mhm.
and kakadasal ng mga kaibigan ko, I was able to develop the antibodies. With COVID-19, is it either you have the antibodies or you don't, or you will definitely have the antibodies once you survive?
I think you will definitely have the antibodies. The question is the amount of antibodies that you have. From what we understand, if you have a mild disease, it will take a while for you to build up antibodies to a level that is really that high, no? Versus
Mhm.
someone who really had the disease quite bad, who had a moderate to severe illness. They say that their antibodies, once they recovered, will be much higher than someone who is just like what you said, an asymptomatic carrier. So
Mhm.
what will happen, Sito, is there is a blood test that can actually measure the level of antibodies that you have. Unfortunately, as we speak, we do not have that now. But we are working on that para bang may titers yan. Para, okay, itong taong ito, merong 1,000 units of antibodies. Ito naman ay 2,000. So eventually, we will have a threshold on who really will be the good donors. But at this time, since we're using this under compassionate use, people are dying critically ill. We just hope that the donors that we get have enough antibodies to help someone who is critically ill.
Okay. Jonas, bigay ko na sa iyo. Doc Jonas, bigay ko na sa iyo yung pagkakataon na manawagan sa mga patients to call out to their families to encourage the patients because, a lot of the loved ones, ayaw pabalikin yung kanilang mga kamag-anak sa ospital. It's like, you almost died there, you want to go back
Right.
there, etc. But we need them. We need their plasma. We need their antibodies. Please go ahead and make the appeal.
Okay, sa lahat po ng mga kababayan natin na nagkaroon ng COVID-19 disease at naka-survive, meron po yung dugo nyo na antibodies from your plasma na makakatulong po sa ating mga kababayan. Huwag po kayo masyadong matakot na kayo babalik sa ospital. Actually, ang gagawin po namin, pag nag-donate po kayo, hindi naman kayo sa ospital magdo-donate, no? We don't really want to bring you there. We understand the concern. So, we will bring you, in case of the Philippine General Hospital, we will not bring you to PGH. We will bring you to the UP College of Medicine, which is far from PGH, and we will arrange, the arrangement is good. You will feel comfortable. But we want you to donate. In fact, when you donate your plasma, you can do it every 2 weeks, okay? It is under compassionate use. There are studies now saying from other countries that it does actually work and it helps a lot of people recover. So, and from me, this is a blessing. You would call it the silver lining of having COVID-19. There is a stigma. In fact, people seem to try to keep it a secret that they had COVID-19. But because of this plasma donation now, actually, there's something good that has happened to you. You have that gift. I call it the gift of life, a way to overcome that stigma and rise above it and be able to help our kababayan. They're really suffering from the illness.
Okay, so that's good. You cleared that up, Doc Jonas, Del Rosario, that they don't have to go to the PGH hospital center, but to a different wing of PGH. Safe sila. And we thank you for your time, Doc Jonas. Marami kaming natutunan sa inyo. And please stay safe, stay healthy, and stay strong. We really appreciate all of you being out there, and we pray that the Almighty God will protect you, protect your associates, protect your staff at PGH. God bless all of you, sir.
Thank you, Sito, and good morning to all.
Okay. And that's Doc Jonas Del Rosario of the PGH. And we are appealing to all of you who are COVID-19 survivors. Please donate your plasma because you were the victim last week, last month. Now, you can be the lifesaver. Kumbaga, ano, yan na ang ganti mo kay COVID-19. Balikan natin ang COVID-19 at gantihan natin with our antibodies. Now, another person who has consistently been in the front line worrying about our kababayans, about their businesses, about their jobs, and about the economy is presidential advisor to the on entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion. We have Joey on the line, I believe, and it's going to be an interesting morning with Mr. Concepcion. Joey, good morning.
Good morning, Sito.
Okay,
Good morning.
we did the warm up earlier, and you told me something that immediately got my interest. You said it's no longer a walk in the park to see the president. You literally have to give blood. What is the procedure now for you, or what did you have to go through when you met with the president very recently?
Well, I've been really pushing the rapid test kits, the use of it for the longest time, as early as January. And I know many people have misgivings about it in its level of accuracy. And I was surprised when I was going to meet with the president together with other cabinet secretaries to talk about this issue, that they told me I will have to go through a rapid test kit test. I said, really? Oh, that's great news. That means that the people around the president realize the importance of testing. Anybody who sees the president must be tested. And I'm familiar with the rapid test kit. And I just asked them if I can bring my own needle because I'm more familiar with my own pricker. So, yes, I said, no problem. In fact, if you want to bring your own rapid test kit, then you just have to show them what brand or what kind of rapid test kit. So I was surprised to see that they had the Helgan rapid test kit. It's one of the best test kits out there that actually sees whether you're IgG negative or positive or IgM. And that's very important because the whole idea of really wanting to test the not everybody in the Philippines will be tested, by the way, with this method. No, it's only about 2-3% of the entire Filipinos that will be. So it's about 2 million people that will be tested. So when you go to a barangay, you don't test the entire people who live in that barangay. That's a waste of money. You try to do a sampling size, no? And that's going to be studied by Kantar. No? But that's on the side. No? That's what you have to do now when you see the president.
So
Luckily,
when you go see the president, you need to undergo the rapid testing. And if you are clear, how long did it take? Kasi medyo
No,
matagal yata yung testing, di ba?
no. The rapid test is 15 minutes. That's all.
15
1, 5,
minutes.
15 minutes.
Okay, so
And
15 minutes.
you just have to wait for a while. And I remember I was with Sec Dominguez and Harry Roque. And in no time, they give you a little sheet of paper and you're negative. Thank God I'm negative. No?
Okay.
So if you're positive, then you got to go home and see the doctor, no, basically.
Okay. Now, so you went to see the president. There was a meeting, and we don't have a lot of inside story, or insights to what's going on in Malacanang and what's being discussed there. What exactly took place, or what were the vital topics or issues that you and the team addressed in relation to ECQ, the economy, and the eventual lifting of the ECQ?
My goal there was to really explain to the president a strategy that Secretary Delphine Lorenzana and Anyo and Galvez clearly understand. No? When you are at war, you have to create a good defense and a good strategy behind that. So the first thing I told the president, which was my opening statement, many people are saying, what is more important today? Is it really life or is it money? No? And that's a statement that I think Ramon Ang answered in one of the TV shows. And of course, he chose life. And everybody will definitely choose life. That is the most important. But in our situation, money is also important. Money resembles the economy. No? So when they say choose life or economy, of course you will choose life. But in the end, money that represents the economy, you will need it also, because without people having a salary to pay for their food, their medicines, that's going to be very difficult. I mean, especially our poor people need money to exist, to be able to have a decent life. I mean, social amelioration cannot be a forever thing. The government cannot just keep giving 5,000, 10,000 pesos to every Filipino out there. And that's not the norm. No, we can do it for a while, but at the end of the day, we will definitely run out. In the end, natural course of running the economy has to happen, because even our small entrepreneurs are severely challenged today. We're basically 4 weeks onto the lockdown already. And now we're
Yes.
entering the second reset. So we have had two resets. I've explained that 14 days is one reset. In 14 days, you will definitely know if you're sick or not. That's a fact. That's scientifically proven. That's all over the world. Now we have entered the second reset and are finished with it. Now we're entering the third reset. This is what I call extension, just to be sure everything is fine. So to me, it is almost impossible that a person will not determine whether he's sick or not within 30 days. You are definitely going to either be alive, be very sick, or be at home. So that is how my premise is. And I told the president that the choice really is no choice, in the sense that money is important for our people to continue living. Now, what is the basic strategy behind this? We recommended five important points, but the most important are two. Basically, we need to shift from a Luzon-wide lockdown into what I call a selective quarantine at the barangay level. Why, why choose the barangay? When you go to war, in war, what do you defend? You don't defend right away the whole country. You focus on the communities around you that are the first ones to get hit, because the communities form part of the city, and the city or municipality form part of the province, and the province form part of Luzon, and Luzon forms part of the entire Philippine country.
So you are essentially saying, let's find out where the enemy is, where the actual COVID-19 cases are, and concentrate on those, and not do a net, not cast a net all over Luzon. Lift the net, focus on the areas where the enemy is. Joey? Okay, I think we had a little problem because there's always the signal problem over on that side of town. In any case, just to review or to rewind some of the things that have been discussed.
Yes,
Okay, there we go, there we go. So, Joey, you're pointing out that we focus on areas where the enemy is, where the virus is, and not spread our resources all over Luzon.
correct. So you start with the communities, because that is the first to be infected, no? And
Mm.
you look for the virus in that area, and you either lock down the entire barangay, depending on the density of the barangay. But if the density is very little, then you can lock down the house or the street, right? So that's the intention, and I
Which
think
is what that's what Quezon City is doing. They
correct,
have
correct.
identified high risk. They call them hot zones.
Correct. So in the case of Quezon City, I don't know if they already locked down the city itself. No, I think they did. So I think Rizal now is locked down. The entire province of Rizal is locked down. But what we have to go is a process. Let's not jump straight to the province and lock down the entire province. We should focus on the barangays that are infected and lock those barangays down. Not if 10 barangays are infected, why lock down the entire city? No?
Yeah.
Now, that's where the IATF has to define when do you lock down the municipality or city, and when do you lock down the province? No? So that's, I think they have to set those guidelines. And the IATF is quite amenable to looking at this program, because it gives you more focus. Now, 25,000 barangays in Luzon. The challenge really is some people feel that the barangay captains are not capable of doing it. I beg to disagree. I think given the proper guidelines, and together with the mayor and the governor, of course, they can really try to focus on the barangays. I'm not saying you don't lock down the city. You lock down the municipality or city, or you if the spread is really in maybe so many barangays, then you have to lock down already because it's moving from barangay to barangay to barangay. No? So you have to do
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And then you move on and you lock down the province when it's really all over the different cities. No? So that is the process that we're recommending.
Well, that makes a lot of sense from how I, because when you first talked about it, it sounded kind of off. But now that you've explained this concept of a targeted approach, targeted containment, it also tells us that we would have more resources to throw at particular targets rather than spread everyone all over the country and get everyone just totally exhausted financially and physically. But
Yes,
okay, so that's okay. I would support you on that one, on the targeted attack,
selective quarantine.
selective containment. Now, what else did you discuss with the president?
So, did the president do the right thing when we went on lockdown? First, he did the best thing, that he did lockdown Luzon immediately at the right time. Had he waited
Yes.
longer, we would have been in complete disaster. So we have to give credit to the president for really being street smart and implementing that lockdown immediately. Number two, he did the right thing of locking down Luzon, because at that time you didn't know where the enemy was. So
Hmm.
you can't do selective lockdown without proper screening. So that I go to the next thing. Now, by the way, the reason why we're asking them to remove to go selective is because we want e-commerce to start to be active, and the removal of checkpoints are important. You just put the checkpoints in the areas that you are going to quarantine, whether it's a barangay or barangays or municipality, and so that's where you now focus your military and police. Now the next important thing was mass screening. What are we talking about mass screening here? I think one of the previous person that talked about was antibodies. They're
Yeah.
trying to harvest antibodies. Now, this is the game changer. Why are people criticizing the rapid test kits? We actually are launching Project ARC. Project ARC is antibodies rapid test kits. So what are we looking for? We are looking for people who have antibodies. And why would they have antibodies? Basically, they would have had the disease already and just didn't know. I had a close friend who his family felt bad for maybe a couple of days and they were fine. And then he
Yeah.
was worried that he had something like the symptom, but he said it was 2 weeks. So he asked from me if I can help source some rapid test kits. And I did, and I sent it to him. And they were all IgG positive. What does IgG positive mean? That means you have now the antibodies, and that means you must have been infected some time ago. And that is what we want to find out there in the different barangays. And we will try, first, the companies that are joining us, but almost everyone in the private sector has joined Project ARC. And the
Joey,
objective is, go
Joey, I
ahead.
hope, sorry for interrupting you, but your friend, he wasn't down, he wasn't sick, he didn't need hospitalization. He was basically a zombie, as we refer to them.
No, he was at home, the usual feeling of tiredness and all of that. I believe he took some medicines, I mean, the family, and
Yeah.
they were fine. There are actually many cases like that you don't
Okay.
know. And sometimes these are what you are concerned with, that people who are pretty okay, and some people don't feel anything,
Yeah.
and then they move around and they are
So
actually
these are
contagious.
the people that you want to track down with your art. You said rapid test.
Rapid test kits, rapid
Yeah.
test kits. Yeah. So that is nothing new. Actually, America, the reason why we're having difficulty in getting supply right now is America has mandated most of these rapid test kits to move to the States. Dr. Fauci talks about it a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
there are a lot of professors here who claim to know it and saying that the false positive or false negative is high. Yes, it may be true if you don't do it properly, and nobody's saying that this is perfect. I'm not saying that the rapid test kits are the gold standard. Definitely the PCR is the gold standard, and there's no doubt about that. But the PCR is the one that you use with the swab that you put in your mouth and then in your nose. That is the gold standard by far. No,
Okay, so right now you've talked about a selective or targeted approach to COVID infected communities, and then rapid testing to find the people with the antibodies, so we can go into plasma treatment. And of course, the government is doing mass testing so that we can also do the mass quarantine, so we can separate the healthy from the contaminated. What's your final point, or what final point did you have with the president?
now let's qualify that. I think make me correct you a bit now. We are doing the mass screening to define how many. Let's say we're starting with our employees first, who have the antibodies, so they
Okay.
don't need to be retested. So
Okay.
the next time around, because you cannot test only once, even with the PCR. If you want to be sure, you want to test them once every 2 months, but that's going to be expensive. So you segregate already the people with antibodies. They can be in the front line. They're exempted from everything. They can, and you're sure that they will not get sick. What you have to watch are those who don't have any antibodies. That's the objective. The other bonus
Okay.
is what the PGH doctor said, that some of them are qualified to be part of this program, to donate their blood to turn into plasma that can help those that are sick. So that's the other program. So the other things that we asked the president to, which are number 3, number 4, number 5, is basically to allow all manufacturing that have a demand. And the reason being that is that we know that power consumption has gone down by 40%. So that means manufacturing technically is down also by 40%. So if we want to try to create jobs, we have to get manufacturing back, whether it's essential or non-essential. And ideally, we'd like to see construction come back, no? Because the workers there are in the open air. They're under the sun. There's definitely social distancing. And I think that is worth, if we
What
want to
was
create
the?
jobs, it's there.
Yeah. So, sorry, Joey. I'm sort of running short on time here. But what was the president's reaction to all of your suggestions?
No, he was extremely pleased. He was in a very good mood, and I had the best conversation that I've had with him so far in the last 3 years. He was so responsive, and it was a good feeling not to have. And he said he will definitely immediately 2 billion rapid test kits were approved right on the spot for purchase.
Yeah.
No,
What
so
about
Secretary,
the lifting of the ECQ and your proposals?
of course, that will have to go to the IATF, and he said he will get back to me. And I am in touch anyway with a lot of members of the cabinet in the IATF. We've been discussing this for quite some time. And I think the idea is to move from an enhanced to something that's moderate. No? And believe me, Sito, I'm not after removing this whole system. For as long as the virus is there, we will have to have a defense. You cannot remove your quarantine until the virus is, I mean, the medicine for the virus is discovered. Where it's enhanced, moderate, you have to have something. Or
Okay.
minimal, you have to have something.
I guess that sums it up, Joey. And thank you very much for giving us at least an update on many fronts. And I think of great value in our talk this morning is the fact that you mentioned how protected the president is through this screening, and that the president is in good health, in good spirits, and that solutions are on the ground, on the table. And we thank you for your time this morning, Joey.
Thank you, Sito.
Okay, that's Presidential Advisor on Entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to wish him blessings and well, but they're part of a community we all belong to, and I'm sure he knows that. But at this stage, I would like to reach out to one of our correspondents at TV5. He is a regular contributor, resource person of Agenda. We have Greg Gregorio, and I know. There you go, Greg. Good morning. How are you feeling, my friend?
Good morning, Sito. We're feeling good, and later we'll be roaming around the city to know how the local government is implementing their localized targeted mass testing. In particular, we're going to visit Valenzuela City, who started their mass testing in Saturday. Sito?
Okay, so I have to ask you on that because the audio was a bit echoey. It's echoing, but you said Valenzuela City did their mass testing last Saturday.
Yes, Sito, they have started to implement their localized targeted mass testing last Saturday. They said that they are in partnership with the medical city to perform their testing. It is unlike the other LGU, which is Marikina, who tried to build their own COVID-19 testing laboratory. With Valenzuela City, they have partnered with a DOH certified laboratory to perform this highly technical testing for the COVID-19. Sito?
Okay, so there's a tie-up between Valenzuela and Marikina. From Marikina City, I understand, is on its second attempt to open up their own laboratory facility, but for some strange reason, the approvals, the clearances are taking forever. Do you have any updates on that, Greg?
Yes, Sito, according to the Department of Health yesterday during their virtual presser, the Marikina's testing laboratory is in stage 3, meaning their personnel who will handle this laboratory would have to undergo training. This is a biosafety training for the performance of this highly technical procedure in doing COVID-19 testing. Yesterday, when we visited the COVID-19 testing center of Marikina, we saw that this is a standalone COVID-19 testing center as compared to their previous laboratory, which they built at the sixth floor of their Marikina City Health Office. If you remember, yung unang testing lab na binuo ng Marikina was not given a go signal by the DOH because of biosafety issues. Now this one, wala pa rin siyang go signal from the DOH kasi sabi nga ni Yusek Vergere kahapon, nasa stage 3 pa lang itong proseso para sa bagong testing center ng Marikina. While we have stage 5 kasi before they will be given the authority to perform an independent COVID-19 testing.
Okay, stage 3 is biohazard competency, biohazard management competency, how to function in a biohazard facility. Stage 1, if I'm not mistaken, is approval of the site and structure. What is stage 2?
Actually, see, to stage 1 is yung mga Marikina, for example, this Marikina LGU, they will be given an assessment form, a self-assessment form where they can check if their facility is good, is compliant with the protocol. Stage 2 would be the visiting chance for the Department of Health, for the personnel of DOH and RITM to check whether or not this self-assessment done by the LGU is indeed correct or compliant to their protocol for biosafety hazards. Now, if they pass stage 2, stage 3, they would have to train their personnel who will perform this biosafety procedures.
Greg, you get around places there, you know people there. I know Marcy, Mayor Marcy is a very competent executive, and I don't think he's just going to get a bunch of nurses to run a biohazard facility. I mean, have you met the people that Mayor Marcy is planning or has delegated or assigned to this facility? Because parang hindi ba, from what I know, they're assigning actual doctors, experienced physicians, and lab technicians to manage that facility. So parang isn't this requirement, this stage 3 requirement, more of a protocol, or is it really a highly specialized, highly technical requirement?
See, to this stage 3 is really part of the process para daw masigurado na yung mag-handle ng virus extraction from the specimen talagang hindi makakalat o makakaapekto sa mga komunidad sa labas ng testing center. Now with the personnel na hahawak dito sa Marikina COVID-19 Testing Center, unfortunately, hindi pa natin sila nami-meet. Pero as you have said, Mayor Marcy Teodoro is very confident in saying that yung kanilang pathologist na mag-handle dito sa COVID-19 center is not just a typical pathologist. Sabi ni Mayor Marcy, nag-train ito sa Germany na meron ding COVID-19 experience, and pati daw yung iba pang mga tao na mag-handle dun sa kanilang testing center ay may COVID-19 experience. Na ang problema, ayon sa Department of Health, ang closest o ang earliest schedule for a training is on Monday pa. So ang suggestion na lang ng DOH sa Marikina mag-enroll daw sa online training course itong mga tao ng Marikina Testing Center na pinoprovide ng UP. With this, they could prepare themselves for a practical exam starting on Monday.
Okay, I will withhold my commentary because I understand the Food and Drug Administration and the DOH are also bound and tied to these steps, these processes, and at the end of the day, biohazard is biohazard. But the president already, effectively overruled the concerns of the DOH regarding the qualification or testing of rapid testing kits, and sinabi niyang ibili na yan, hindi na ako maghihintay, go ahead and buy I think 3.3 billion bucks worth of rapid testing kits. Now, Mayor Marcy Tolentino is quoted as saying, we're running the program, we're opening the laboratory, we are not waiting because people are dying. And from what I understand, they've had quite a number of deaths in Marikina already. What is the current statistics of confirmed cases, deaths, and recoveries in Marikina?
Sito, as of 3 p.m. yesterday, they have 68 confirmed cases, 18 deaths, and 6 recovered. Now, patungkol dun sa nabanggit mo na in-overrule na nga ni Pangulo itong pangangailangan for a speedy response from LGU, yan din yung basihan ni Mayor Marcy Teodoro for saying na with or without the license from the DOH, they will open their COVID-19 testing center on Friday. Although on Friday, what is scheduled is the calibration of their PCR machines, and they target to start testing by weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. Pero yun nga yung ini-invoke ni Mayor Teodoro na sinasabi niya sa panahon ito na meron tayong kinakaharap na public health emergency, mukhang hindi naman kailangan or not unnecessary na yung pagkakaroon nitong mga tedious process for license to operate, kasi kailangan daw talaga ng mga constituent niya na magkaroon sila ng mass testing for them to identify immediately kung sino yung positive with the virus para mabigyan ng nauukol na the supportive treatment on the way to recovery.
Right now, how is Marikina doing its mass testing program? Naumpisahan na ba nila? I know naumpisahan na nila, but are they doing it through the RITM, through PGH? And what will be the game changer? How will this laboratory be a game changer for Marikina? Ninenervyos na ba kasi ang mga tiga Marikina na hindi pa sila natetest?
Yes, Sito, according to Mayor Teodoro, at the moment, they are sending specimens to RITM and Lung Center of the Philippines, among other laboratories. But the problem is, with RITM, their specimen is being pending for a 5 days timeline before the results is released because of the backlog and the mahabang pila sa RITM. Now, with this COVID-19 testing center of Marikina, they target to process a specimen for an ideal timeline of 48 to 72 hours. That is very much speedy compared to 5 days timeline ng RITM.
Pero basically half the time.
Yes, that is faster for them to identify their positive cases.
Okay, how much money was invested in this? Because I would imagine kung mag-click yan, yung ginagawa ni Mayor Teodoro na yan, if it works and it really fast tracks testing, I'm sure practically every LGU in the country will want to put up their own laboratory. Do you have any idea, any figures? I mean, I don't expect you to know all the details, but baka natsambahan mo lang, my friend.
Chito, unfortunately, I can barely remember how much, but this is a big money for them to build this testing center. But from what I know, they have invested for their 7,000 testing kits. Yung 2,000, they have procured this from a foreign manufacturer. From what we know, DOH said yung isang testing kit from a foreign manufacturer costs around 8,000 per testing kit. While ito na mga 5,000 testing kits na meron itong Marikina, they have bought it or ordered from Manila Health Tech, which is yung UP-NIH
UP.
developed. That is the locally manufactured testing kit. Ito naman yung mga nasa 1,300. So, yun yung idea ng halaga na ininvest nila for the testing kits alone. Pero dito sa laboratory nila, I know this is around a million or billion.
Okay, well, Greg, you raised very important points there. Thank you very much, and we will be pursuing some of the things you mentioned. Please extend our regards to Mayor Marcy Tolentino if you get to see him. Maraming salamat, Greg Gregorio.
All right.
Okay, stay strong, stay safe, stay healthy. Okay, that's an interesting point for that everyone, especially the IATF, should look into. If the local boys can manufacture the testing kit for under 2,000, according to Greg, he said it's about 1.3 or 1.5, and we're paying 8,000 for the test kits that are being used by the DOH, the RITM, etc. I suspect that the variance in price has to do with tax, not only markups, but taxes. And that's something that might be worth investigating, because did we miss the boat on that one? Should the Department of Finance look into that and check out how can we bring those prices down, landed in Manila? And maybe that would also help the government be able to have more money to spend or buy more test kits. We'll go for a break, a quick break, and when we come back, we bring in another individual whose organization is doing so much, very low-key, but they are risking their lives. They are putting up money, traveling, and helping hospitals, not just in Luzon, but all over the country. That's Peter Kairuz of I'm gonna remember it. It's a Blessing Something Foundation. We'll have him online. We'll go for a quick break. Please stay tuned. Okay, we're back on air and you are watching Agenda. I've just been informed by my executive producer that I absent mindedly referred to the mayor of Marikina as Marcy Tolentino. I am so sorry. It is Marcy Teodoro. And I take full responsibility for that. That is part of the system of working from home. No excuses, but when you've got something like six different piles of paper in front of you and trying to figure out and trying to communicate on the cell phone. And I'm telling you this so that our viewers can understand how we are working. First, I'm wearing pants. I'm not wearing shorts. No, I'm not wearing shoes. Okay, but I am communicating with my executive producer using my iPhone, and that's how we're doing stuff. Okay, so in any case, let's get on with the program. Our next guest or resource person online is a gentleman who I have known for years. He is a brother to me, a brother in the Lord, and he has been in the forefront of promoting the word, the gospel, Christianity in the Philippines. And more than that, they have really been in the forefront helping hospitals, like I said earlier. We have on board Peter Kairuz. He is the president and CEO of the nonprofit corporation Christian Broadcasting Network Asia, or simply CBN Asia. He also serves as the network's flagship program, uh, 700 Club Asia host. And there we go. Peter, good morning to you, bro.
Hey, good morning, Sito. How are you? What an interesting morning. Just listening to Agenda from the doc Jonas to Joey Concepcion and then Greg. Just learned so many things in such a short time.
Well, I'm glad that you had that experience because that is our work here. Our job as broadcasters is to give the information to people, and you and your for your part have done it. Not only you've not only been sharing the word of the Lord, encouraging people to turn to God, especially now. But I've been watching your operation, Operation Blessing, and I have to apologize. I love you, bro, but I always think of Samir Kairuz and not Peter Kairuz. Samir was your father, right?
Yeah, my father is Alfredo.
Oh, okay.
Pioneers in the bicycle
Yes.
industry in the 60s and 70s. Yeah.
Yeah, there's either it was a Kairus or a Patria, but in any case,
Yes.
in
Yes.
any case, Peter, aside from being the face of 700 Club CBN Asia, your group has been very busy with Operation Blessing. Now, I just have to ask, how do you do it? Because you've been sending medical equipment, medical supplies to hospitals all over the Philippines and not just in Luzon. How do you do this thing?
Well, in fact, we started this even before the start of the enhanced community lockdown. But we've partnered like out. We've already helped around hospitals and distributed around 2,400 sets of PPEs. PPEs are the complete protective protection equipment that composed of disposable lab gowns, the head cover, the goggles, the shoe cover, the gloves, the mask, alcohol, soap, vitamin C, complete yan. As different from just the protective kits which contain the alcohol, iba naman to. So what we do is we go all over the country and we go outside of Luzon, like we were in Davao, uh, the Philippine Air Force, and it's by the just our donors that we can do this. And yung mga PPEs tinatapon yun, yung gown tinatapon after one use. So there's a constant need for PPEs even until today.
Yes. Okay, now, are you experiencing donor fatigue? Because I know so many Filipinos who are climbing the walls, feeling so frustrated, so defeated because they can't join the battle. And they're not aware of things like Operation Blessing. I mean, I think most Christians know of Operation Blessing, but the general population are not very familiar.
Yes, that's true, Sito. Well, to be completely honest, our giving has gone down by 75%. But thank God we have some savings, and there are still people giving us today. We have corporate sponsors, and we're trying to use whatever resources we still have to continue this drive, this COVID relief. And this whole week, we are giving food packs because we've been doing that in between. Kasi marami pang areas like in Batangas. We went to Batangas to an area there. They have not yet received anything from any NGO. We were the first ones to bring them food packs. So, in spite of the efforts of the government, marami talagang lugar na hindi pa naabutan ng food packs.
Oh, okay. How do you do this? Do your sponsors send you finished products, or do you get money and then kayo pa ang namimili? Then you are the ones who have to repack it, and then you are the ones who have to physically bring them to locations.
Well, the food packs that we're giving, they're mostly canned goods, rice, mga essential items, hindi yung cooked food, no? So we're the ones buying it and repacking it ourselves.
Okay, and then so you also have to deliver them. Doesn't this expose your volunteers, your members, to unnecessary health risk? Kasi some people will say, sabi ng COVID-19 lockdown, na umiikot pa kayo dyan. Are you in coordination with a
Oo.
government office?
Well, what we have several teams that go out every day, and so yung iba, pag lumabas sila, they're on a forced quarantine. So nagpapalit-palit ang mga teams, no? So that's how we do it, because several teams go out every day. Like this whole week, we're going to distribute food packs, and then after this week, the whole team goes on a 2-week self quarantine.
Okay. And then another new team.
Yes, yes, ganun. That's how we do it.
Okay,
Well, we do our best. Every time they go out, they are they're with the full protective gear to ensure that our people are not exposed unnecessarily.
I know you're being polite, Peter. You don't want to impose spirituality on the program. But, nowadays, I think everything goes out the window. I just want to know, what is the spiritual sense of people out there? Are people now more aware of their relationship with God? Because you're being polite. You haven't mentioned anything about Christ, about the gospel, or about the word. And I know you're being polite, but I'm not
Well,
going to restrain you. I just want to know: are people feeling hopeful? Have they turned to God more, or is it all about food and survival?
well, Sito, the general feeling is still fear and panic, especially because of the lockdown. And they don't know, will I get infected next? But everywhere Operation Blessing goes, they get to pray for people, whether it's in the hospitals. They spend a few moments, of course, merong social distancing, no? And everybody's heart is open. This is the feedback that I get. When you offer prayers, everybody says, yes, we need that. pray for us. You know, this is a time when people's hearts are so open to the Lord. And this is a time when the nation needs to really come together and look up and really ask God and seek God and you know, repent for all our sins. We have made materialism an idol. We have gone you know, our own ways. So kailangan talaga, it's the time to repent and get down our knees
Okay.
and really seek the Lord. When this pandemic is so widespread, we really need to ask God, you know, Lord, what do you want us to do?
Okay. Well, I think now more than ever, Filipinos have become very prayerful. They have become more of Bible readers and more aware of their neighbors and of the needy. And we just want to commend you. We want to commend CBN Asia. We want to commend Operation Blessing and all your volunteers and especially your sponsors for being out there for sharing because yes, Christians are supposed to be known for being prayerful and being spiritual, but in times of needs and crisis, we also have to be known as generous people who are givers. Thank you very much, Peter, and please
Amen.
stay safe,
Amen.
stay
And Sito,
strong, and stay. Yeah,
may I just make an appeal?
go ahead.
So for those who want to partner with us, they can go to our website obfil.com, and there are ways there where you can give. So seek your hearts and be a partner. Just to make that appeal. Thank
Okay,
you very much, Sito.
okay. Bless you, Peter. Thank you very much. And that was
God
Peter
bless you.
Okay, that was Peter Kairuz. I'm sure many of you are very familiar with him, especially with the 700 Club, CBN Asia, etc., etc. Now, let's move forward. Another individual who I I think he's a survivor, if I'm not mistaken. And he found himself in a very unique situation. He's actually a musical composer, and he landed in the hospital, and he ended up being serenaded by the very people who healed him. Let's call in award-winning composer Arnel Del Pano, who composed the song Lead Me Lord. Sir Arnel, magandang umaga sa'yo.
Magandang umaga, Sito.
I don't know if it's just the lighting or talagang relax na relax ka. Are you still recovering or are you blissfully thankful for having been a survivor?
Actually, I just got word on my second swab last night. So, in-encourage pa ako ng aking doctor to take my second 14-day self-quarantine. So, I'm finishing my first.
Mhm.
Uh, Kumaga, day 13 ako ng quarantine ko. And I'm facing another 14 days self-quarantine. Relaxed, maybe because wala naman ako magagawa. And I'm claiming full healing and full recovery from the Lord.
Okay, that's great, and I will include you in a prayer. Now,
Thank you, thank you.
may, what did your doctor say? Kasi alam mo, I haven't really had the chance to talk to many survivors. But when I watched a particular video of Chris Cuomo on CNN, he mentioned, he's an anchor on CNN, he mentioned that when he got sick, a doctor called him and forced him to do physical exercise. I mean, hindi yung workout na ginagawa natin regularly, but he was told, get up, stretch your arms, do this, do that. And essentially, it was, parang take a fighting stance. Now, you've recovered, you're a survivor, you're going to go through second 14-day quarantine. Pero ano ba ang sabi siya ng doktor? Higa ka lang dyan o, oy, mag-exercise ka naman at para lumakas ang katawan mo.
Actually, yung quarantine forces me not to do much physical activity. Pero I need to walk around, I need to stretch. Meron akong breathing exercises na pinagagawa sa akin ng ng doctors just to strengthen the lungs.
Yeah.
yung second 14-day quarantine ko, I've been allowed to maybe go up and down the stairs, but naka-house arrest. So I still cannot go out.
Well, I can give you a very good tip. Kumuha ka ng bunot at toothbrush and you will be in shape because I think that's what we are left with, bunot, toothbrush, and hagdanan. But
Gra-
going back to your experience, uh, let me let me get personal. Did you actually think you were going to die?
Uh, I was admitted about March 19, and I wasn't admitted as a COVID patient. Um, what I felt was baka nag-recur yung aking I had bouts with typhoid and pneumonitis before. So ang suspecha when I went into the ER was I had pneumonia and typhoid.
Yeah.
Uh, when the doctors did their tests on me, I think nakita nila do sa sa lungs ko, it was consistent yung appearance consistent with COVID patients. So even without my first swab, even without the results of that first swab, they let me undergo the COVID protocol na, and that may have saved my life. Yung wisdom ng doctors to uh, put me under COVID protocols. Uh, the difficult thing about the hospitalization is the indefiniteness of the treatment. Uh, at least 10 days kasi yung COVID medication na yon. But really, I didn't know day to day how long I'll be staying in the hospital. So it was medyo malaki yung impact mentally and spiritually uh, on top of the physical suffering. But very, very clear sa akin that a lot of people were praying for me, and may impression sa akin ang Panginoon that my mission still is not finished. And I never felt that pinabayaan ako ng Panginoon, and wala akong option to give up. So, yun din yung gusto ng mga doctors, for you to fight, for the patient himself to fight.
Okay.
Not to lose hope, not to lose the will to live. Kasi kailangan nila yun. They get affected when they lose patients. And most of the patients that they have lost just lost the will to fight, the will to live. Kasi sila, the frontliners, will not give up on you. They will do everything they can uh, to keep you alive and to put you on the road to recovery. So, uh, wala. I did not feel at any time that I was not gonna make it.
Okay, well, you've said something very important about the will to fight because that's something that I have not heard in other interviews or in other programs, that it is a critical aspect of survival, that you don't lose the will to fight, and that many of those who passed away, according to the physicians, were people who simply lost their will to fight. Now,
Because
going
the fight is difficult. It's not easy. Physically, it's not easy to take a toll on you, lalo na if your condition is not improving, and if it deteriorates to a certain point na physically talaga it's really difficult to bear. But more than that, uh, dahil mahirap physically, patients just give up. Uh, what they don't realize is that the frontliners, our doctors, the staff, are really fighting with us, trying to make us well. They will do everything they can to keep us alive. So dapat ikaw rin as a sufferer, you have to fight because nobody can they cannot impose that on you, and you can only do that by yourself.
Okay, last question, Arnel. I don't want to take up more time from you, but how did it feel when the people who took care of you serenaded you with the song you composed, Lead Me Lord? Medyo parang iba yung dating nung madinig mo yung kanta na yun, I'm sure. How did you feel?
Okay. Um, that was one of the special moments of my life, my second life, if you will, to be sent off by my angels in the hospital with a song that I wrote. I think naging familiar sa kanila yung song with the help of the version ng the viral video of the UP medical medical practitioners who sang my song,
Yeah.
and then parang as a inspiration to the other frontliners. And then my wife told them that, oh, your patient is the one who wrote it, and they were thrilled na, uy, pasyente pala natin yung composer ng Lead Me Lord. And I don't know how they came to the decision among themselves to sing for me on the day of my discharge. But as you can see dun sa, I don't know if you've seen
The
the
video.
video of it, but
Yeah.
I was worshiping with them. I was really, really blessed by the gesture. And afterwards, I could only pray for them for covering, for protection, while they did their jobs. Sila yung naka-expose, sila yung araw-araw have to deal with uh, uh, the sickness and the cure. And I just pray that the Lord will give them a double covering of His protection para hindi sila mahawa.
Okay.
And then I broke down. I
Okay.
broke down.
Well, thank
I
you
really
very
cried.
much, Arnel, for sharing those insights. Excuse me, and I'm sure you're going to be celebrating a wonderful second life with the leading of the Lord. May God bless you. Stay strong, stay healthy, and stay safe.
Thank you very much, and God bless you too, Sita.
Okay, and that's Arnel De Pano of who is the award-winning composer of "Lead Me, Lord." Now, we have about 2 minutes left in the program. Please allow me to make this important appeal to all of you because we've seen so many salutes. In fact, it's my column for today in the Philippine Star. We've given many salutes to the captains of industries, to businessmen, to the private sector for their generosity, for helping put up mass quarantine facilities, for giving food, etc. And all the salutes are good. But as I wrote in my article, your salutes are great, but they need cash, as in cash flow. We Filipinos have taken the road of buying what is affordable, what is cheap, and generally we have bought stuff, imported stuff, mostly from China. I am not anti China, but I am imploring all of you to please buy Filipino. Be a nationalistic consumer, support Philippine industries, support Philippine manufacturers, and support small businesses, especially around your neighborhood. You are their hope. You have the buying power. You have the choice. We thank them for making the sacrifice. Some of you might even say, well, it's about time they pay back, they give back. But if we also don't pay back and we also don't buy Filipino, we may soon come to a time when there is nothing left made in the Philippines, no more local, because all of the businesses fold up. That is going to be the scenario, and we hope to God, we hope and appeal to you, to all of you, Please buy Filipino, buy local, go local. This is for the survival of our country, not just businessmen. I'm Cito Beltran, and that's agenda for today. We thank all our guests. I thank my team, and we thank all of you for watching, and for those of you who have expressed appreciation for whatever information you picked up, whatever tidbits you learned. And we pray to God that He would bless you, that He would uplift you, encourage you, and give you good health, and give you a productive day in Jesus' name. Amen. Bye, and see you tomorrow.